welcome to the Outlet with Kei-Touch. I'm so excited. I have a legendary, extraordinary Sylvia Traymore Morrison. Yes, look, she was is the first Black female impressionist, and let me see if I still have it right. Also, the first Black female writer for Saturday Night Live. Only one to go on tour with Whitney Houston and open up for her. Am I correct?
Yes.
And just a wonderful individual, also an author, and just doing a lot of amazing things. Because I think at this point you published, 4 books, 5 books, 4 books?
I'm about to release the 4th book. Yep. I sure am. I'm so excited. I read where Maya Angelou did 36 books, because I was thinking at first, Sylvia, these books keep coming to you and you keep writing them. And when I read she did 36, I was like, go for it, sis. Go for it. Yeah.
36. How is it being an author? I mean, now you're a woman of many, many talents doing different things. Tell me a little bit how you transitioned into becoming an author, what compelled you to start writing books, and then how did it just take off where you kept writing and writing?
Wow, that's such a good question, because I've never been asked that question, and I absolutely love it. I wasn't going to be an author. I had nothing in my background that would suggest that I would write books. But I used to read all the time. I've read so many books. And in my career, I had so many interviews and television shows with local radio shows and so forth. And they all asked me these questions about my career. And I found myself sometimes repeating myself. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to put it in a book. And if they want to get my book before they interview me, they can read all the stuff and have all the answers and then elaborate on that. And I ended up, the first book took me 5 years. 5 years, because I didn't know what it was like being an author. And it had to be right. Days had to be right. Dates, situations, everything had to be perfect. You couldn't, this was going down. And I had to have everything about that book correct. And it wore me out. And I said, now I see why authors are so revered. They're so respected, because you write a book. It's time consuming. Your head has to be right. You have to know what you're talking about, have all your research done. Everything needs to be correct. So I finally finished my autobiography after 5 years. And I said, I will never write another book. That took everything out of me, every single thing. And a few years later, actually, I was on stage performing. And I was telling people about my Whitney Houston experience on stage, and this voice from out of nowhere said, tell the people that when Whitney died, she went to heaven. Now I got like 900 people in front of me, and this voice is telling me to tell my audience that Whitney went to heaven. I'm like, to myself, I'm talking, thank God, I was like, and so ladies and gentlemen, and the voice said, tell them. I'm like, oh God. So to make a long story short, the voice kept telling me what to say. It's almost like the voice wrote the book. So they said, tell them when Whitney got to heaven, God gives us, when we go to heaven, a mentor. And Whitney's mentor was Lena Horne. And then they said, say these words in Lena Horne's voice. Now, I'm an impressionist. I know what Lena Horne sounds like. I know what Whitney Houston sounds like. And I said in Lena Horne's voice, I didn't even know I was about to write a book called Jelly Beans from Heaven. And in Lena Horne's voice, I said, hey, baby, we've been waiting on you up here in heaven. And Kitty, and then it said, say something that Whitney would ask Lena Horne. So I said, Whitney said to Lena, Miss Lena, am I going to get my voice back? Miss Lena, am I going to get my voice back? And anyway, it turned into this whole story. And while I didn't make it about Lena Horne and Whitney Houston, I made it about people, like everyday people, like us. Like I created this character, Carly, and she lost her parents in the horrible car crash. And the basis of that story was, You hear people all the time say, I know they're watching over me. You hear that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they're watching over me. I hope I'm making them proud. So the whole sense behind this book was every time you pray, the prayer goes to heaven in the form of a jelly bean. Now, say you have a loved one who has cancer. So when you pray for that loved one, that prayer goes to heaven in a pink jelly bean. So your ancestors, your parents, whoever's no longer living, they can go pick up that pink jelly bean and drop it on you. And the next thing you know, the doctors come in and say, wow, your cancer's in remission. So they're pink jelly beans. They're green. They're purple. And that book ran. I mean, it ran. When it got on Amazon, people were running to buy it. And I'm like, oh, my God. And it wasn't hard to write at all. At all. It was already written for me. All I had to do was put it in writing because the voice had given me the story. And because it's about heaven and because it's about jelly beans and because it's about life and death and what heaven looks like. Oh, it gave me the description of what heaven looks like. It was just amazing. And so I've had people to say, get this book. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, I had one lady to come on and say that. She said, if you've ever lost a loved one or if you have someone that's sick in your family, get this book. And it's been like an honor. It's been a real honor, but it didn't take me nowhere near the trouble I had, excuse me, with writing my autobiography.
Wow. But I mean, the autobiography, it's about yourself. And I'm sure that was hard to do. And of course, you're a perfectionist. Like you said, you had to get it right.
Yes.
And you have a remarkable career and not leaving anything out. I can imagine how hard that was because it was about you.
That was 5 years in the making. And then I put them right here. This one is the Jelly Beans from Heaven book. Let me see. There we go. And then my latest book that's out already, and like I said, I'm about to release book number 4. This one is about when I had COVID. And it's entitled Me, Satan, God, and COVID, because all 4 of us were in the room together.
Oh, my goodness.
That thing was, So then after I released this book, somebody called it to my attention. They said, Sylvia, you're becoming quite an author. And I said, well, yeah, because this next book coming up is entitled Wings of the Untold. And I used to be an airline stewardess, or a flight attendant is what they call them now. Even in the middle of my career, I was working as an airline stewardess because I knew that I could fly for free as a flight attendant and only had to work like 2 or 3 days a week. And it worked out perfect for me until I had to go to Europe. And then I had to be over there for a while. So I had to let the stewardess job go. Well, I didn't let it go. They let us go. We had the first big gas shortage, the first big one. And a lot of people, young people, have no clue what that was like because they weren't born yet, or either they were too little to remember. So this was back in the 70s. And it was like a baby, tiny, tiny baby COVID. Tiny baby COVID when you couldn't get any gas. So imagine not being able to get any gas to go anywhere in your car. It's like, wow. It was crazy. Anyway, so that's how I got to be an author. And I'm actually, it's still hard work because this one was no problem because it was so real life and it was so close to, I had COVID and pneumonia at the same time.
Wow.
And yeah, it was high risk because, pneumonia can kill you by itself. And then here you have COVID. So when they gave me my diagnosis, they first told me I had pneumonia. And me with my not knowing anything about any of that medical stuff, I thought to myself, thank God it wasn't COVID, because it was like in the middle of COVID. But that daggone COVID was so evil. It was such a horror. It was demonic. It was, I'm glad that I've had a chance to talk about it a lot because I used to cry when I talked about how sick I was. It was deathly sick. You would be okay with dying if you got a bad case of COVID. It was just so bad. When I got well, I said, I need to tell the world what my experience was like. And it might save somebody some kind of way. I don't know. But anyway, and
wow.
Now that COVID is resurging, the book is starting to pick up with respect to sales. So it's called Me, Satan, God, and COVID-19, because all four of us were in the room together. Yes, we were.
Yes, we are talking to Sylvia Traymore Morrison. Look, she is an author. That's what we started off with.
Yeah.
But she was actually the first Black female impressionist, also the first Black female writer for Saturday Night Live. And you've done so much, and I'm really happy to see you getting more and more recognition. You're from right here in the nation's capital. You're doing your thing. You're full of energy, and you have truly paved the way for so many comedians, especially females as a whole. And yes. I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was right on time. Yes. And talk about energy, Noem. Let me say this about you, because this is my second time with you. And I remember the first time I thought, what a powerful, engaging interviewer with so much positive energy this woman is bringing. Because usually, sometimes the interviews go like, so, how'd you get started? And I mean, when I first met you, you came with the fire right off the break. You were not waiting on nobody. So thank you for that too. I love it.
Yes, ma'am. But I mean, you're legendary, extraordinary. I mean, what else can I bring you but the best here on the outlet with Kei-Touch? I have to switch gears real quick. Well, let me go back. Sylvia Traymore Morrison. You can find all of her books on Amazon for sure, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And also your website is what?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of people have been saying, I've been going to your website and I can't find it. Well, after 13 years and the company that I was with, and with all of modern day technology, and I was paying all that money every month for my website, someone showed me how to build a website on Facebook. Because and I thought that would be, because most of the people that buy my books or want to come and visit me, they usually do it on Facebook. They come and follow me on Facebook. But now that Instagram and Facebook are connected, I'm in the process of finishing up a website on Facebook so that people can just go to Sylvia Traymore Morrison, and there you go. Boom.
Google her. Too easy to find. Also, go on Amazon and you can just look up her name and find her books. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. So I want to shift gears real quick. We just found out that we lost Sidney Poitier.
Oh my God. Yes, Kei. Oh my God. What a loss. And this is right behind Betty White. But Sidney Poitier sits. I never got an opportunity to meet him in my 53 career years. But his work is so profound. It just opened up so much for so many people. I mean, he took the hits. That man took the hits, the slaps, the knockdowns, I'm just so thankful for him, because I know, just based on me being a Black female in comedy, I know how that has impacted my life when I was a young woman coming up in this business. I simply cannot imagine what a Sidney Poitier went through in his early days. I just can't. I honestly can't imagine. But he prevailed. He survived. He picked up. He kept going, and he kept going, and he kept going, and he kept going. And because of that, many young actors and actresses are able to find a way through those doors that he opened. He was, oh my God. Whew.
And it's just something. I mean, he was the first Black performer to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for Lilies of the Field. And he once said he felt is that he was representing 15.8 million people with every move that he made.
Wow. That's powerful. That is so powerful. My first movie that I loved with Mr. Poitier was To Serve with Love. And it was about a bunch of young kids in school, white kids, giving him a hard time. It was just amazing. And his acting skills were so on point, you didn't even know he was acting. You did not know that Sidney Poitier was acting. He was just amazing. We're going to miss him, for real. Mrs. President.
94 years old.
Wow. What a blessing.
That's something. That's something.
Yeah.
Just profound and paved the way for so many people.
Yes.
And to me, that's why it's really important to know about those who paved the way.
Yes.
For us to make it. And someone like yourself who has paved the way, people need to know who you are. You have paved the way. And you were doing this and started this when it was much, much harder. And you still prevailed. I mean, I'm going to just drop the little knowledge I know. I mean, your first manager was Red Fox. You roasted Muhammad Ali. I mean, you did some amazing things with some amazing individuals that are historical. So automatically you are right there paving the way. So I applaud you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so I want to transition a little bit and talk about Max Julian. We lost him at the beginning of the year. As many people know, he's from D.C.
Right.
And he became really famous. I mean, he did a Broadway, but he became really famous and mainly known for his role as Goldie in the Mac.
Yes.
Where he starred alongside with Richard Pryor, blaxploitation film that was just very trend-setting and gave us a lot of identity as a people outside of slaves and sharecroppers.
That's right.
That's kind of what I took away from it. So share some of your thoughts about Max Julian, his contributions, blaxploitation film in general.
Well, first of all, I was thrilled that he was from the District of Columbia, from my home. I was just thrilled. And then when he hit the screen, first of all, secondly, I already gave you my first of all, I'm a comedian, so I got to do that kind of stuff. Secondly, I thought when I first saw him, I said, oh my God, he is so handsome. And then for him to stretch out at that time, see, a lot of things that a lot of people who weren't there, they don't know the horror and the trickling of just no's and no. Sorry, no. I could just go on with that. They have no idea what that may have been like at that time. And then to be able to Max Julian them, meaning come out with a film that nobody was expecting it to be, and bringing it, and then it being a hit. He was fearless. He was unafraid. He was greatly gifted. All of his skills were on point for what he wanted to do and what he just did, not what he wanted to do, what he did. So Max Julian became like a artistic hero in the artistic world, especially in the film world, because how can you do that? Who can make that happen? Well, he did. He made it happen. So kudos and bravo to you, Max Julian. May you rest in peace. Yeah.
And I mean, he did so much with that movie. Again, that movie was such a trailblazing movie for Black people, blaxploitation film. And it really showed, in my opinion, the fight between groups like the Black Panthers with what was going on in the streets with the hustlers and the pimps and the street element. So it really brought a lot of what was happening to film. And I wasn't alive at the time, but I'm sure that was like something new, something that wasn't seen before. And like you said, it was just... in my opinion, a cultural hero, just kind of changed the stereotype of what you saw in Black film as a whole. So, like you said, rest in peace to Max Julian. Transitioning again, look, it's the outlet with Kei-Touch with Sylvia Traymore Morrison. Look, you can Google her, find her on Facebook, find her on IG, first Black female impressionist, also first Black writer for female writer for Saturday Night Live. Just an amazing living legend here on the outlet with Kei-Touch. So tell me about the last event you did. I know it's been a lot going on because of COVID, but tell me about your last event and anything upcoming that you're able to share.
Well, you know what? You have got to be in my top 3 people who, I mean, I just love, you know how to, God gifted you. You're talking about me. He gifted you with knowing how to run a show. I had my last, you know what? I did my very first big stage show the 29th of December at the Arlington Draft House with Tony Woods. I hadn't been on a big stage since before COVID came about. What was that, in 2020? Yeah, when it first came out. And so I've also been handed the script to a one-woman play entitled The Return of Jackie Moms Mabley, where we honor her. You know, I did not know that Moms Mabley was a singer and a dancer before she was a comedian.
Oh, wow.
Most of us don't know that.
No.
But I get to bring back 7 or 8. They haven't decided yet. Iconic women who most people most people know who they are, but a lot of people don't. And a lot of people don't know their history. People like Ella Fitzgerald, who was a scat queen. There's Billie Holiday that I'm bringing back. Aretha Franklin, that's why I say most people will know who some of them are. But these are all iconic women who paved the way for so many singers and actresses and so forth. So that's my latest project that's coming up. I've been contacted here lately. I don't know what's going on, but a rack of people, maybe 3, have asked if they could do a documentary on my story. It's like, okay, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. So there you have that.
I just love it. I love it. And so what do you have coming up? Don't you have something coming up this month, the end of the month? Okay.
Yes, I have a show in Maryland. I'm hosting, they're bringing Barbara Carlisle to Washington, D.C. Yes, and they asked me to host a show. And then there's Paris Sachet. She's an up-and-coming, just a fabulous comedian. Arisha McFarland, who is from out of New York, she'll be on the show. And then there's Kai Morgan from the area. He's also on the show. So that's the 29th. And I'm sorry I don't have in front of me where it is, but they can always go.
Yes, at the Comfort Inn Restaurant, 9421 Largo Drive, West, Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
See, that's why you're the best. That right there is why you are the best. Look at you.
Yes, but the most important thing is to follow Sylvia Traymore Morrison on social media. She will have that flyer posted. You can see her live and local doing her thing. Hopefully, the snow is gone by then. And we don't have to deal with the snow.
And COVID too. Tell COVID to go on back home down to where he belongs or it belongs or whatever it is.
Yes, ma'am. So that's just amazing. I love that things are picking up. And like you said, as soon as they can get COVID under control, we can see. I can't wait to see you live. I can't wait to see you doing Jackie Moms Mabley.
Yes.
I just can't wait to see that.
God, yeah.
And then you said you're going through so many different personalities, impressions throughout, not just of her, but of some other legends. So I can't wait to see that as well. So
they recently threw Josephine Baker in there as well. So she's probably closing out the show, considering it's my impression of her, but considering she was like the most famous woman in the world during her time, she was it. Josephine Baker, my goodness, yeah.
Yes, this is amazing. And I mean, I'm just wondering, how are you able to come up with impressions for these people that are long gone?
You know what? Another thing that a lot of people don't know is I used to sing. I loved singing. When I was a child, I was a singer. Oh my goodness. So I just listened to all kind of music. I loved music. And every time I'd hear somebody sing who I really, really liked, I could hear their voice in my head, and then I could make the same sound. I could hear them on the radio or on the jukebox or wherever I was listening to them, and I could hear they had these certain little entities in their sound, and I could do them. I could pick them up. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So, I can't let you leave the show without doing an impression. It's your choice. I'll do it that way. It's your choice.
Well,
but you have to give me something.
I have not done Aretha Franklin in public yet. I will be doing her at the show on the 29th, but she's also in the play. And so one of the things one of my favorite songs that she does is when she was on the phone with her sister Carolyn. And she says, I had a talk with my sister Carolyn last night. And she goes, gotta find me an angel to fly away with me. And I just, I love Aretha Franklin, so there you have it. And
I love it.
Another one of my favorites is that I'm doing in the Return of Jackie Mom's Baby. I love telling people about Ella Fitzgerald because Ella will tell you in the play through what we wrote that scatting is rapping and rapping is scatting. Now let me clear up one thing. I just said what we wrote. I want to be one of the writers so bad, but I'm not. Andy Evans wrote the whole play, and he wrote it expressly for me. He's a legendary comedian as well, and I came up with the coin. Scatting is rapping and rapping is scatting. And when I do Ella Fitzgerald, I just love it. And I love Ella Fitzgerald. I love her for a lot. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing. My last question for you. What are your thoughts on the future of female comedians, specifically like in stand-up comedy? We don't have as many. I really like what Tiffany Haddish is doing, for example. And what can we do as a people to encourage that and just kind of keep that going? Your thoughts? That's a real good question, Key. Anyway, I think I've been watching comedies going on 6 decades. I'll say 5 for sure. And I came up at a time where I didn't see many female comics. I'm not saying there weren't any, especially that looked like me. But there just weren't. So over the years, comedy has evolved. You get a couple more to come in and they make their contributions. Most of them, not all of them, but quite a few of them. I'm not going to say most. I'll say quite a few. We have a tendency as women sometimes to get involved in our lives, especially when you get married or if you have children or if you adopt children, whatever it is you do. It's part of our DNA. We just have a need sometimes to be that woman. And I think because technology has arrived and it's made it so much easier for us as women to do comedy, especially. I look at people like Jess Hilarious and and Tiffany is just a prime example. She's just for me, she's such a wonder. I'm so proud of her. But I think that nowadays there's thousands of female comics. And just based on my experience, a good portion of them, not half of them, I'm not going to give up a number, but I'm just going to say a good portion of them are probably not going to stay with it because it's difficult, first of all, to make a living at it.
You've got to have I tell female comics when they come to my classes or come to my speaking engagements, I tell them this has got to be something you really, really want to do because it's tough, but it can be done. Because I never want to discourage anyone from doing it, but I want them to understand this is some stuff you might have to deal with in the process. And if you're willing to, go for it. But I think there's going to be some real giants to come up out of this whole movement. It's big giants. And I can't tell you how I saw for the first time a Black girl doing impressions. I went home and I cried. It was the most, it touched me so deeply because for the longest time, I was the only Black female impressionist in the history of this country. So when I saw this woman, she was killing Michael Jackson. She was just, and I was like, oh my God, there's another impressionist. And then there's another girl who's in Florida, I think it's Jade Nova or something like that. She does Beyonce and Rihanna and Nicki Minaj. See, I have to tell people this is Nicki Minaj when she's older. Because I have to tell them, look, this is Rihanna when she's about 50. Okay, that's that. When I do their impressions, so it is so amazing for me to see women who, especially the young ones, who are coming up in that ground. I just feel so special. I just feel like, look at them. They're coming out now. They're all coming. They're yes. And even for the regular, when I say regular, I don't mean to minimize it to just being regular, but I'm talking about people that don't have specialties in their comedy. There are people who they do twirling and all kinds of stuff in their comedy, and you have your stand-up comedian. So I really believe, Kei, that we're going to have some giants to evolve from out of these movements coming forward, because it's totally changed. And I'm so thankful to God that I'm here to see a lot of it. So, yeah.
Yes, I love it. And again, like you said, you were the only for so many years in the history of this country, which just speaks volumes. And to see others come up, I'm sure you're like, oh, there go my baby. That's one of my babies, doing the thing. And I'm glad that you're excited about it because it's really important for us to have unity, especially among our Black women, because it's already hard. It's already hard.
And you know what, Kei? Usually if a female, especially an African American, a Black girl, calls me or reaches out to me in any kind of way, not saying that I can answer every single last one of them, but I try to, at least when I do talk to them, give them an extra dose of hope. I want them to know, it was bad. It was bad, but it's not like it was then. Yes. In my book, Almost, The Many Faces of Sylvia Traymore Morrison, I actually took back 180 pages because I didn't want to be viewed as somebody who, oh my God, she had to do all of that. And then Monique told me, she says, hey, sugar, let me tell you something right now. She told me, she said, you need to put all 100 of those 80 pages back out there so that people can see what it was really like. So that's my challenge towards the end of the year. After I get The Wings of the Untold published, I'll go back and do a part 2 of my autobiography. So that's it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Again, Sylvia Traymore Morrison, the very first Black female impressionist, the only one in the United States for many, many years. Mm-hmm. Trendsetter, go-getter, trailblazer, legendary, extraordinary. I just love it. Please follow her on social media. Check out, she has many books and more to come. She has this thing with the author, being an author now, just doing a great job taking life experiences and putting it down for us to read and learn from. You can get it on Amazon and everything is a Google away, a click away. Sylvia Traymore Morrison, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, well, okay. If they want an autograph copy, they can DM me or come find me online and just let me know what you want. I got it. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
Yes,
you.
yes, ma'am, and thank you again. So she said, DM her. See, she's with it. She already knows the terminology. She didn't say send me a message. She said DM her. So for all the folks, send her a message, okay?
Yes, okay.
On Facebook for an autographed copy of any of her books. Thank you so much, Sylvia Traymore Morrison.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Okay, take care.